Welcome back to the 5-7 podcast. I'm your host, Mike Pre, and today we're going to be talking about the 9 Americans that were killed by the cartel in Mexico this past week. Now, the reason I want to do this is because I've long believed that we should be able to put these people out of business. You know, they've been running across Mexico and South America with impunity, doing whatever they can and corrupting the governments, and now and people dying at record numbers, and nothing has really been done to these people, you know, and something needs to be done. I want to read the story. It's from Reuters about exactly what happened, and it's absolutely unbelievable, and it's something that I think everybody should know if you have not read about this yet. So 9 American women and children killed in northern Mexico were victims of a territorial dispute between an arm of the Sinaloa cartel and a rival gang, officials said Wednesday, and may have been used to lure one side into a firefight. Hitmen opened fire on the 3 mothers and 14 children traveling from a village in Sonora to meet with relatives in neighboring Chihuahua State and Phoenix, Arizona. When the killer struck, the families were spread out along a 12-mile stretch of road near the border of the 2 states, according to Mexican authorities and families. As bullets began to pummel the first car, a white Chevrolet Suburban, Christina Marie Langford Johnson stepped out waving her arms to show that they were not gang members, according to a family statement based on reports from the surviving children. Christina was shot dead. Her baby Faith survived the attack in a child seat that her mother appeared to have placed on the floor before she got out. Gunfire also ripped into a second white Suburban carrying Donna Langford and 9 children some 2 kilometers back. Donna and 2 sons were killed. Reuters video of the vehicle showed more than a dozen bullet holes in the roof and side of the vehicle. Inside, blood was smeared across seats and children's toys. A third car, 18 kilometers behind, was shot up and burst into flames, killing Ronita Miller and her 4 children. Some hours earlier, the Linea arm of the Chihuahua-based Juarez cartel sent gunmen to defend the state border area after attacks in a nearby town by the Los Salazar faction of the rival Sinaloa cartel, a top general told reporters. So essentially, one of the cartel sent members of their cartel to go and defend what they believe is their borders, you know, their border, their territory from other cartel, from a rival cartel, and they wanted to do some work. The Sinaloa and Juarez cartel have for years been at odds over lucrative routes in the border region used to move cocaine, heroin, and other narcotics into the United States. Mexico has long requested that Washington do more to control demand for drugs. Mexico has unleashed its military against cartels since 2006, but despite the arrest or killings of leading traffickers, the campaign has failed to reduce violence. In fact, it has led to more killings as criminal groups fight among themselves. And what has commonly happened is that when you cut the head off a snake, you know, the group can sometimes fraction off into smaller groups, and then they start fighting each other because they're looking to assert dominance, because, you know, somebody wants to be at the top, to be the main guy, the big group. Mendoza said that Miller's car appeared to have exploded because of the gunfire. More than 200 spent shell casings were left behind. Relatives of the victims rejected the mistaken identity theory, arguing that shell casings and personal belongings found near the torched car suggest the attackers came close and made sure that everybody was dead before igniting the vehicles, which is unbelievable, which means that they would have known that there were children in there, and they shot the place up. They shot the car up anyways. The family's account of the attacks and subsequent efforts to recover their surviving children include reports of shooting from the hillside that continued well after dusk. A man was arrested in a nearby town in a truck carrying a .50 caliber Barrett rifle and other military-grade weaponry, but the government later said he was not linked to the murders. I also read another article about this where they found this guy with 2 people bound with their hands tied behind their backs, their feet tied, and a gag in their mouth, and he had these weapons. He was clearly up to freaking no good. But this is just another example of the crime that the cartels cause in Mexico. This guy wasn't even a part of it, but they pulled this guy over. They found all this military grade weaponry and these two bound people. And man, they would talk about their lucky day, because that could have been it for them. He was clearly, they were clearly going to be murdered, or they were probably kidnapped, and they're going to look for ransom, which is another common occurrence that happens in Mexico. The Mexican government countered Trump's call by urging Washington to help stop the flow of American weapons south of the border. And Security Minister Alfonso Durazo said Remington shell casings of U.S. origin were found at the crime scene. Also, be sure to look into the failed CIA op. I think it was called Fast and Furious, that the Obama administration was doing, trying to track weapons in Mexico, and it didn't go well. And they ended up losing track of these weapons, and some of these weapons were used to kill Border Patrol agents. When the gunman shot dead his mother and two brothers, the uninjured 13-year-old Devin Langford had 6 surviving siblings nearby and walked for 14 miles to find a rescue party. After witnessing his mother and brothers being shot dead, Donna Langford's son Devin hid 6 other siblings in the bushes and covered them with branches to keep them safe while he went for help. For 11 hours, relatives had no idea what had happened to their loved ones. The youngest of Devin's siblings, 9-month-old Oliver, was shot in the chest. 8-year-old Cody had bullet wounds to the jaw and the leg, while Xander, 4, had been hit in the back. Brothers Trevor, 11, and Rogan, 2, lay dead. When Devin failed to return, his 9-year-old sister Mackenzie, who was grazed in the arm, went after him and walked 10 miles before getting lost in the dark. Search parties later found her, the family said. Another sister, Kylie, was shot in the foot while sibling Ryder was uninjured. Nearby were the bodies of the Miller family, including 8-month-old twins Titus and Tiana, all shot and burned in their vehicle, the statement said. Only ashes and a few bones remain. Now, clearly, what is happening in Mexico and with the cartels is medieval, and these people need to be stopped. And I think that it would be in our great interest as a society to help the Mexican government with finally ridding themselves of these freaking cartels, because these people have no souls. They're killing women and children. There was 2 trucks full, 2 Suburbans full of women and children, and they murdered them. And these people are still being able to run around and conduct their business. The Mexican government can't do much because they're corrupt. They're so corrupt. The Mexican military is corrupt because the cartel has their hands in them. The police, the local police, can't do anything because they're corrupt too, because the cartels got their hands in them, and they need help. And I think that, with the aid of the United States government, that we could really help fight this would be the true war on drugs, and hopefully get rid of this freaking problem that we're having, because this has been taken to the next step. These guys are killing women and children, and they don't care. They know that they are, and they're going to keep on doing it over because of drugs, because they want to make money because of these drugs. And it needs to be stopped. So that's what I say. That's what I call for, military action against these freaking guys, because it drives me absolutely crazy. And I think that this is a cause that, as Americans, that we can all get behind. Maybe people are not behind with the war in the Middle East, and that's understandable. To each their own. I get it. But this is our direct border, and we have a direct connection to this crime. There is. I know a lot of people think that what's going on the border is a problem, and it is, because of what they are doing to Hispanics and essentially keeping them in cages, which is wrong. The problem with this is that these people are not just coming from Mexico; they're coming from South America as well, and they're trying to leave these countries because these countries are so riddled with crime because of these cartels, and they want a better place. They want a better place to live, which is completely understandable. Us giving them asylum, that is a completely different issue. What I'm talking about is why these people are leaving South America and Mexico is because the cartels have made these places unlivable, because business is down because of the crime, and they're trying to leave these areas because of the crime. And that's why they're coming to the United States, is because they're trying to get away from the cartels. If we could possibly rid the cartels in Mexico and South America, there would be an opportunity for these people to get their lives back, to get their country back, to get their land back, so that they can live like we do. But that's a completely different conversation. But I wanted to bring that up because I wanted to bring up why those people are coming, because it's a direct correlation with the crime in their countries, in their states, and in their towns because of cartels. And the cartels are the problem. And we can do something about that. And I think this is a cause that everybody can get behind because it directly affects us. There is tons of kidnapping in Phoenix that's related to cartels. There is routes that they walk in that Tim Foley witnesses himself. Check that out, Cartel Land on Netflix. Great documentary about the cartels and how they bring drugs into the United States and what they do and how they get it in. We have people that are leaving water for them because they think that they're doing the right thing, trying to help. They're picturing, a mother and kids walking across, walking across the great desert to find a better land. And they think that they're leaving water and supplies for these people. But in actuality, the cartel people that are carrying over the drugs are taking these supplies and using them. So, there's just a lot going on with it. It's a huge freaking deal. And it's something that we need to tackle. We need to tackle head on because our border states are feeling the pain, and they feel this the most out of everybody in the country. So it's something to think about. What I want you to look into Cartel Land on Netflix. Look into crime in South America and in Mexico, and it's directly correlated to the cartels, and it's unbelievable. And once again, I think this is something that we can get behind. By the time everybody listens to this, it's going to be I'm going to release this on Veterans Day. I want to thank all my fellow veterans out there for their service to our country. To all the veterans that have gone before us, thank you. And all the guys that are serving now, I want to thank you for your service, but the guys who have gone out there and done the deed and given your service to this great country, I commend you. And you're all my battle buddies, and I appreciate you. If you're a guy out there and you're listening to this podcast and you're having a hard time with life, being out of the military, or you're having a hard time adjusting, transitioning, get a hold of me. Maybe I can point you in the right direction. If you're looking for somebody to talk to, I'd be more than willing to talk to you. And that's what I got for you today, guys. Be sure to hit subscribe. I appreciate everybody out there listening to the podcast and taking your time out of your day to listen to it. And I hope that I'm giving you information that everybody could appreciate and everything, and information that everybody could use. But that's what I got for you today, guys. This is Pre out.